So who covers on Sunday, Geoff? Rams now a 4-point favorite on the DK Sportsbook.
Yeah, this line finally starting to move under 4.5. It looks like. The start of the week. Yeah, this is kind of the time, I guess, in the Super Bowl lead up where maybe start to question yourselves. But I'm staying with my initial call, which was Bengals. Plus 4.5 at the time. They're down to +4. I don't really care if they get down to +3.5. I'd still take them. I think they win this game outright. I really do, and I think anything over 3.5 points or 3.5 points and over, anything over 3 points, is really good for the Cincinnati Bengals. We've talked about this ad nauseum this week. They're the better executing team. Sure, you put these two teams up maybe in like a Madden simulation or something, and maybe the Rams have more perfect games and they win like 54% of the time. But when do football teams ever play perfect games? We've seen one. It was the Buffalo Bills, and they dismantled the New England Patriots. I don't think that's going to happen in the Super Bowl. Cincinnati, I think, scraps out a win here, and I think you're getting really, really good. A really good bet to take them, like I said, anything over 3 points on the spread.
All right, which side are you backing, Pearce?
Yeah, I'm going to stay with the Bengals. I've been on them the entire playoffs. Might as well keep riding this thing out. And like Geoff mentioned, as long as this thing stays on the other side of a field goal, you feel pretty good about it. And I'm very tempted. I mean, I'm not tempted. I would take the money line. I've said this every week leading into the playoffs or even into the Super Bowl. Don't just take the Bengals in the spread. Take them in the money line. And if you've been following that, you've been doing pretty well. Why change now? They pull out these close games, and one of the reasons they pull out these close games is they have an ice-cold – I mean, you can't stop Evan McPherson. He just doesn't miss these big kicks. And if we're going to rely on him at the end of the game, he can put it into overtime. He can hit the game winner. He's going to help you with that money line. The defense is really good. We don't spend enough time talking about the Bengals defense. They've got a front four that can get pressure on Matt Stafford. And when you get pressure on him with just using your front four, you leave people in coverage. That means Stafford under duress is going to throw possibly interceptions. That can be a backbreaker in the Super Bowl. The Bengals want to play conservative. You run the ball with Joe Mixon. You play good defense. You kick field goals. I love the Bengals staying at 4. They may even go 4-5 with some coastal bias.
Okay, yeah, Cincinnati definitely benefited from some key takeaways at the perfect times to seal their postseason victories this year, Pearce. Good point by you. What are you doing with the total, though, Pearce? So 48.5 is where the total has sat for most of the week on the DK Sportsbook.
I'm going to stick with the under. Both of these coaching staffs are conservative. They will kick field goals. They will get conservative in the red zone as well. Instead of pushing the issue, keeping the foot on the throttle, they kind of slow down. And you've seen this in the playoffs where the Bengals will get across the 50-yard line, or even the Rams will get across the 50-yard line. They'll start moving, and then maybe they just run it a little bit more than they should, and they end up settling for a field goal. Wouldn't be surprised to see that happen. Also, these defenses are good. For whatever reason, when we evaluate defenses, we need to see them basically be awesome in every single phase for them to be considered a good defense. I mean, if you look back at some of those Tampa Bay Buccaneers defenses that were legendary, they were bend but don't break. They didn't do everything right. They just executed when they had to execute. Same thing with the Patriots. We often look back, those defenses were amazing. Well, a lot of times they executed at the right times. They got turnovers at the right times. They got third down stops at the right times. They gave up tons of yards, a lot of those defenses, but they executed when they had to. And that's kind of what you see with both of these defenses in the Rams and Bengals. And I think ultimately that's going to lead to more field goals, more 3-and-outs, conservative offenses, and we're going to go under.
All right, yeah, Geoff, if you're backing the Rams in the big game, which you are, you're likely leaning on this LA defense to get the job done. You don't want to see a shootout with this dangerous Bengals receiving core?
I think I just said I was backing the Bengals, but I mean we can rewind the tape anyways.
You said you liked the Rams.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
I definitely didn't.
Yes, you did.
We'll
run it back.
I've never said that this week. Those words have never come out of my mouth. Bengals. Anyways, regardless, we're talking.
I thought he was taking the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm Titans. I mean, the Titans would have made more sense.
Yeah, we know your preseason bet.
Yeah, they're gone. Anyways, look, I've struggled with this total, which was the actual question here. 48.5, kind of all week. I've honestly been a little bit wishy-washy. I'm gonna end that today. I am gonna join Pearce on the under parade here. We have talked too much about the field goal kickers this week and how much we like them to take the over. It's that simple. These teams will take field goal attempts. Between the two of them, they're averaging 7 field goal attempts per game. I have gone over Sean McVay's record at going on at it for fourth down when they're inside the opposing team's territory. It's one of the lowest in the league over the last 5 years. It's bottom 3. He will take the field goal, and I think you have to lean under. You also go to Steve Buchanan on Twitter. He's got the great Super Bowl splits. More money's on the over here. I just don't want to be on the public side of this one. I'll take the under.
That's right, and I believe it was almost like 70% of the handle, I think, was on Bengals as well to win and cover the spread. What about a prop bet, Geoff? Like, what's your favorite one? What's the best one in your opinion?
Yeah, so I mean, again, we've gone over a ton of props obviously this week, and there's a few I really like. But my favorite, I'm going to stick with this call. Cam Akers under 16.5 rush attempts. Again, how does he get to this number? It's almost got to be a perfect storm for Cam Akers to get more than 16 carries in this game. Darrell Henderson is going to play. Sean McVay came out and said he's riding the hot hand of running back. Whoever looks good, that's who's going to get the most carries. Guess what? Cam Akers has not looked good in 3 straight starts. He's averaging 3 yards per carry. He's had fumble issues, and now he's got to deal with this 3-headed monster. Look, he could also lead this group in touches and still not get to this number. If the Bengals jump out ahead, he's not getting 17 rush attempts. I'm sorry. The Rams are a team that throw at a high volume in the red zone as well. You got to take the under in Cam Akers rush attempts, 16.5. I'm actually surprised that this number is still there. I really thought this would go down to like 13 by the weekend, and we're sitting Friday, and you're still getting 16.5.
Yeah, between Henderson, Akers, Michelle, LA could definitely have that potential trio of ball carriers there in the backfield to kind of split things up. What about you, Pearce? Prop bet you like?
Yeah, my prop bet has not changed since earlier last week. Jamar Chase over 4.5 rushing yards. Well, it's changed. It was 2.5 rushing yards, which I would love to have that again, but 4.5, really not that big of a difference. 4.5 yards from Jamar Chase in the biggest game of the season. We know that these offensive coaches can be pretty conservative and not take big risks. Well, one of the ways that they can slightly be aggressive without being too aggressive and get the ball into the hands of one of their best players is running the ball, and we've seen the Bengals do that in all 3 playoff games. In 2 of the playoff games, it's worked to go over 4.5 yards. He might get more than 2 attempts. He might get 3 or 4 rush attempts, especially if Jalen Ramsey is shadowing him or he's dealing with double coverage and the Bengals are desperate to get the ball into his hands. Then you're going to see them force some rush attempts. And all he needs is one mediocre run to go over 4.5 rushing yards. It's also a fun bet because this thing could hit at any time. This bet will be live the entire game. The only thing you have to worry about is if he has a 5-yard run to start the game, and then you're sitting on the edge of the seat begging him not to touch the ball again on the ground.
Yeah, we call that the sweat, man. Bengals do regularly try to spark a run there from their speedster. Man, he had a 4.34 40-yard dash time. That's like Jeff Ulrich fast. What about a novelty prop, Geoff?
Oh, you know where I'm going here.
Yeah, baby.
We're going back to the Gatorade.
Yeah!
Yes. I have not talked enough about Gatorade this week. We need to get in at least one more segment. Look, purple Gatorade is plus 1,400. Red Gatorade is plus 1,200. Do you know how many times we've seen red Gatorade thrown on coaches, Emerson?
How many times, dude? Tell me.
0.
Yeah!
0. Why is red Gatorade at shorter odds than purple Gatorade? We have had purple Gatorade thrown on coaches twice over the last 20 years, and we're getting plus 1,400. That's good value. Look, red Gatorade, nobody drinks fruit punch. Nobody does that. That's like a 1980s flavor. So I think that a plus 1,400, this is actually a pretty solid bet if we're being serious. Yeah, you can go with one of the traditional flavors, orange, yellow, lemon, lime. But I think these two teams, I think one of these teams is sneaking purple into their Gatorade bucket. And I actually think a plus 1,400, it's not a bad bet.
I miss citrus cooler. That was Michael Jordan's favorite flavor. That's kind of like an orangish. I don't know. If you like Ecto Cooler High C, it's very similar. What's your novelty prop, Pearce?
That was back when it came in those glass containers.
Yeah. Oh, it's so much better. It is so much better coming out of the glass container. And then you could also consider like the hose water Gatorade that they make at football practice, the mix and stuff. That also has a unique flavor. It's probably not good for you.
Whatever happened to Powerade? They didn't last very long.
No.
Coca-Cola
Or
brandy.
All Sport. Yeah, All Sport was, I think, Coca-Cola.
More like soda. I liked All Sport. Somehow not as healthy for you.
Yeah. Crickets, what are you talking about back there, Cody? Like, we're bonding. All right, go ahead.
All right. Well, so the thing that worries me, though, with that Gatorade bet is that a couple easy phone calls into an equipment manager, and you know what the color of the Gatorade's going to be. And I just wonder if maybe the odds have already been set because someone already knows what the color of Kool-Aid is already going to be. So I would worry about taking some of those long shots. I'll take a simpler bet. If you just take the Bengals to win and then they also win the coin toss, you can boost up your money line bet from plus 170 to plus 350. So if they win, plus 170. Well, you throw the added, hey, if they win the toss at the beginning of the game, you've juiced your bet up pretty good. So you just need to win that coin toss. If you're feeling strongly about the Bengals already, why not throw that one in there too and double your bet?
All right, guys, let's, before we get out of here on this first segment, which other DK Sportsbook special do you like, Pearce? There's so many to choose from.
Joe Burrow over 260 and a Jamar Chase touchdown for plus 600. That seems like a pretty good deal. I don't expect Joe Burrow to throw the ball all over the field and have a massive game. And I don't think he's going to be much higher than 260. But he can get over 260, and if he gets over 260, more than likely he's going to throw a touchdown to Jamar Chase because that's what he does, and that's a pretty good payout in that spot. So Joe Burrow over 260 and Jamar Chase touchdown combined.
All right, Geoff, talk to me.
All right, we are going to the cross sport specials here because there is one I've been on all week.
Yep.
And you go down, you go to the NBA section of the cross sport specials, and you take Jason Tatum
Yeah.
to make more threes than the LA Rams to have total touchdowns. You're getting plus 160 to take Tatum. He has averaged 9 3-point attempts over his last 5 games. He's playing the Atlanta Hawks. They're 23rd in three-pointers allowed. They're 24th in opposing three-point percentage allowed. Look, you get like 3 3-pointers from Tatum. That might be all you need, but there's a chance he could definitely fire up 5 or 6 just because, the attempts are there every night. Hasn't been great this year from 3, but I think at plus 160, he is way overvalued here. I think it's undervalued here. And I think that this one should be way closer to even money. So I really like the Tatum line on that one. Again, I mean, we've talked field goals ad nauseum this week. Field goal kickers are so good.
I know.
It's gonna be 1 million field goals. Well, that means there's not going to be that many touchdowns. And I think the Rams probably do top out at like 3 touchdowns, even if they do somehow win this game. So I like Tatum there on that line, plus 160. Grab it.
What sport doesn't Geoff cover now?
I know.
Come on, man. You going to take my NASCAR gig next?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look, football season's over. I need to fill the gap here. So I'm coming for you.
Yes. He's got a dog he needs to make sure that he can afford food for up there in beautiful Canada. He only has 2 games with more than 3 triples here in his past 6 or 7.
He's been a little cold, look, okay?
Yeah.
But the attempts are there.
Okay. All right.
He's playing the Atlanta Hawks.